Welcome to the CIONET Podcast. My name is Hendrik Deckers. I'm here today with Carla Milovanov, who is the Group CIO of Landal. A very warm welcome, Carla.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Carla, you have been with Landal for over a year, and in that time you've led one of the sector's most ambitious architecture transformations, integrating two major European holiday park brands, modernizing core platforms across HR and finance, operations, commerce, and unifying the digital backbone of more than 250 parks in 10 countries. And you have often described this program as building one company out of two mature, proud organizations without missing a single beat in business continuity. Now, Carla, if you had to choose one defining thread that made this enormous transformation possible, what would that be?
It's quite hard to identify one, but I will point at few of them, so I think it first of all was the empowerment of this program was really a bottom up, top down in all the directions possible. I think it was a full commitment from the company. And a good stakeholder management with the whole CX level involved, participating and supporting every step on this massive journey that we're going through.
Okay. And so when you first entered the organization, when you started in this role, you inherited duplicate systems, disconnected data, fragmented processes, and also teams that navigated under uncertainty because there was a merger and an office consolidation going on. Was there a specific early moment when you really realized the scale of what needed to be done here?
It was very interesting. The recruitment process also helped me a lot because I had the opportunity to assess the project before joining Landal. So as you know, any private equity company, they looking for two main drivers, right? To create value, either optimizing in the business performance or created value in the asset that we are driving. So coming from this mindset, we saw a massive opportunity to do the right thing, and especially in the right moment, because Landal and Roompot, they was processing this integration for 2 years in other touch points of the organization. But when we come to architecture and technology, that really kicked off last year when I joined the company with a very clear mission to look into three main domains. One was how the enterprise environment, that what can we do different for the core function in the business, traditional HR, finance, and etc. But also looking into what can we do in the hospitality environment, how can we integrate it and be more efficient. And the third, I would say, X that we looked into was everything linked to the core technology, the backbone of everything, right? So that was very clear since the beginning, and was that momentum in the company that everybody was very tired just waiting and waiting. So I think I got it in the right moment, with the right ownership and the right empowerment from top down, and with a very, very mature momentum to get things done.
Okay. Now, for those not familiar with Landal or with Roompot or Roompot, could you describe a little bit what Landal does and also in the context of the merger with Roompot that has been done?
Yes, so Roompot and Landal, they are very similar business offer to the customer, right? So if you want to go to a holiday in the nature and be disconnected, we are located in over 10 countries. It's around 250 holiday parks. We're either close to nature somehow, either an ocean, either a park or forest or things like that. So we our main focus is family holidays, where you can have your self catering and you have beautiful chalets that you rent it for a week and you enjoy with your family, and that is the core business of Landal. We make business through our booking platform, where we have a two different kind of operating model. Either we run the park, so we have the assets, we run the houses and everything, or we franchise. Our platform, our business it's converted through 90% online, so through our directed channels. So it's very much majority of our parks are in Netherlands, but we have a very strong presence in UK, Germany, Belgium, but our main focus, our volume of operation is in Netherlands, and we are very Dutch DNA in the company. So as becoming a part of this culture and communities, it's very much in their DNA to go to a holiday park.
So very Dutch and British company, but you have an international background. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh yes, I do. I am Brazilian. I'm a mother. I'm married for a long time. I moved to UK and coming from, I worked in hospitality for 17 years already. So I moved from Brazil to UK. I stayed there for 11 years. And then recently I moved to Netherlands with this opportunity. Indeed, I always tell my friends that once you step it in the hospitality business, it's very hard to leave it, especially if you like people and you like to create an impact. And I think technology today is able to build impact in the experience, especially when you are in holiday. I think that is very valuable moments that if we can create it value somehow, I really love, and I'm very passionate for this industry.
Carla, when you started, when you joined, the company was dealing with different tech stacks with multiple ERPs, commerce platforms, disconnected operational systems, basically. So how did you design the transformation program and the underlying architecture?
I think the way we tackle was essential for the success of the program. We put it in place a very strong governance called control tower, where everything that we were doing was to secure that we are designing something that was aligned with our design principles, that we had a proper governance and communication program. Every change on budget, scope, or timeline was submitted to steercos, where my whole CXO level was participating on that. So that was essential for the success of the program and to make it that transformation that we really touched everybody in the organization possible with that strong empowerment and ownership of everyone. And in terms of the architecture choice, we look into things that we try to not reinvent the wheel. So we look into let's go vanilla, let's reuse it what we have it. But the most important thing is let's make technology simple. So, and that brings, when we talk, sometimes we say technology simple, it can be a big statement, but if you can simplify things, you optimize it and you gain a lot of in process and cost and continuity of our business and chains in the future. So that was basically what we chose it. In terms of choice, I think I touched that before, was a mix between each kind of technology. We look at with different lens. So in some cases we went it with brownfield, some cases we went it with greenfield, or in some cases we redeveloped from scratch, and we decided just to take a completely different approach than what we were doing before.
Okay, let's talk about these different points, because I think they're all three very important: the governance, the design principles, and then the implementation and the selection of the technology. So you said the control tower approach and the governance approach, that you had full buy-in from everybody in the company. How did you organize that? What was the challenges there? Because you had two different cultures. So how can you bring two cultures together under one governance model?
This program was very challengeable for us because I think I mentioned that besides doing the integration, we were also changing head offices. So during the integration process, we opened a new head office in Amsterdam where we lose it a lot of the skill set around the teams because some of the teams that is from Roompot or most of the teams that was from Roompot was based in Hoes in the south of Netherlands. And the Landal team was based up in the north of Netherlands. So then when we chose it to come to Amsterdam as a new head office, a lot of people was made it redundant. And that together with that, the knowledge was gone as well. So part of the design of this project, we decided to go in a turnkey project with one single vendor where we bought the expertise of those domains that we were integrating. So we bought the expertise of BI, the business integration, and the system integration, and the whole chain came with this single supplier mindset. So Control Tower had a very strong mandate to secure that if we don't have the internal knowledge, let's look it into the market and bring that knowledge. So in the design of, for example, a new process for, account receivables, right? We look it into what is in the market. We compare to what we know, because sometimes we also didn't have the information in-house. And as you can imagine, we were a mid-sized company, and when we integrated, not necessarily you have everything documented, right? So we had to do reverse engineering in a lot of the process to discover what we are doing in that moment. So having that very stricted process was key for the success, but was very stressful for the teams because they were never used to this kind of governance, and was a very heavy process that hours and hours in calls, especially because most of the system integrated was sitting in India. And you can imagine it couldn't be more different between the culture of Dutch culture and Indian culture. To make that happen was a lot of hours of change management, animation, and the most important is making that very personal and an achievement for each of the teams. So This program was not seen as an IT program, was a company program. So that was the main difference. And that was the way that the Control Tower and the whole team was approached.
Yeah. So it needed then the Brazilian flair to have the Dutch and the Indians work together?
Well, we almost learn how to dance samba in the end of the day, right? Because you needed to make things happening. So we just took it that style. But in terms of the way we set it, we always had a business owner, a technology owner. We made the decisions together. We sign for every single decisions, and we go through the process of designing, building, tested, and production. And we had it almost every month, I won't say, but every 6 weeks, we had it a go live of different things. Started from Salesforce, moving to a NetSuite, moving to OneStream, moving to Workday, moving to Sitecore, moving to everything you can imagine. And we're still finalizing integration from the last mile of the program that is still be going on.
So it sounds like you were implementing pretty fast as well at the same time. I mean, it was at greenfield, brownfield. We'll talk about that in a moment, the technologies. And you mentioned a number of technologies. But so governance-wise, because you had this top-down, everybody involved way that you had mandate from business and technology leadership, that you were able to go fast as well, correct?
That's correct, but it's also, we mobilized 250 people. So sometimes we were having tons of like 70 people in the call just to be able to design and accelerate, because you need to replicate that. But I think that the biggest success of this program was not even the design, was the hypercare. Because through hypercare, especially when we put it something in production, to have the teams behind, because things will go wrong, that there is no IT implementation that goes 100% right. But the way we mobilize the team and we make it that the story of everyone, I think the hypercare and the go live dates that we had it, people working day and night, weekends and everything, that pay off as a big success.
Describe me a little bit what you mean with hypercare.
So means that you put it, for example, you do the commerce go live, right? You change it, the whole back end of the platform, the commerce platform. And in our case, over 90% of our bookings coming directed from our platform. Different than hotel industry. Hotel industry, they have a high dependency on OTAs, Booking, Expedia, you name it. In holiday parks, and you know the brand, you know the location, it's a nearby holiday, so they book it directed with us. So there is no way to do that besides a big band, right? So the day that we move it, the booking engine from system A to system B, you have to have an army behind that, right? Because if you see a flow of a booking and that flow is blocked somehow, you have to intervene and needs to be very quick. And that is where we really raise the response and the confidence of everyone, because then everybody was fully committed and they was fully empowered to, if we have a problem, we will fix it. So let's go on. So, and that happens. And we had a lot of blackout periods where we cannot do migration on Fridays. We cannot touch the parks and weekends. We can't do it on Mondays because so our migration window was Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. And that has become like a very much constraint for everything. Yeah, it was very challenging.
Okay, let's go. So we have an idea of the governance, the implementation, strategy on the days, and how you organize hypercare around launches of new core business applications like the booking system. Let's dive a little bit deeper in your design principles. We talked about vanilla, simplicity, standardizing. Let's go over these one by one and what the value is of these principles.
Yeah, I think let's use it, three of them, right? So I think simplify IT means that where can we bring that efficiency? So deduplicate application, simplify flows, eliminated any kind of overcomplicated process that doesn't make sense. That help us into everything that we design. We should have be aligned with our ROI and our business case. And our business case was to optimize the technology cost in the company and drive it a bit the optimization. So that we got it through simplification, right? And deduplication. Because even if you put it a platform that cost sometimes a little bit more in terms of licensing, if you have a single process that is from start to the end, that is easy to be operated, it's automated, you can remove it a lot of cost that is sitting someplace else. So other principle that we use it, we went it fully cloud. We don't have it anything that is on premises anymore. So the whole platform is running on cloud. So that also we gain a lot of time to market, and we can also leverage ways of operating IT that before was fully centralized in the Dutch market with the internal team, now operating fully in offshoring because it's accessible anywhere. You can maintain the platforms and it's easy to be changed and to be updated at any time by anyone, as long as we have it a very well documented process.
Yeah.
So those help us. Those principles help us to make it quick decisions and it's not a rocket science, right? When you look it into, okay, we want to integrate it and have it a single CRM platform, and of course, and if we can use it Salesforce and we can build the business case around that, why are we going to look into something else, right? And if we already have it a very strong process running in NetSuite and the team is comfortable of that, why are you going to open the Pandora box to change it? What was not the case in HR, because HR, we had a lot of legacies around, and we went into the full greenfield. So we learn it also in the commerce platform, for example. We look into which kind of platform has higher conversion, Landal or Rumport? Landal. So let's reuse it, Landal, right? So those kind of things, and using the data lake and the data information that we had it starting building even before the integration help us to take those decisions quickly.
So, Carla, you talked about governance being very, very important. And so you have your governance dashboards. So could you share with us maybe a little bit the important KPIs that are in there for scope, value, adoption, and so on?
Yeah, I think in the control tower, they did a great work in terms of controlling or tracking everything. So we secured that there was three main, say, KPIs that we are looking at. If the benefit that we committed into the program, how far we were. So basically, we committed in two main benefits. One was FTE reduction, and the other one was OPEX savings. So those are very important trackers, because also if you optimize it, the platform, you also optimize it, the whole process around that. So this was a very important one. Then the other thing was we divided this program in different streams, and each streams, they had a very strong milestones because there was a lot of dependencies. So if the integration layer was not completed, you can't go live with any platform, right? So that the milestones and the tracker of dependencies was super important in the program, so that we were managing at the CX level, at that level. And everything linked to change requests, because as we did a turnkey project, the contract was very, very, very restricted for the vendor. So in many times was a lot of fights on the CRs, and that we are very successful be able to manage only 5% of CRs of everything that was submitted. That was impressive. I never see that before. And in terms of, and that means that we manage the project to be on time, on cost, with 10% savings. So that is really important, because we are reinvents those savings into evolutions and things that we needed to improve it post integration. Because sometimes even if you design everything, there is a lot of things that escapes and you need to take shortcuts sometimes. So that was brilliant.
Let's dive a little bit deeper into the results. And we have results both on finance front, on customer experience, on IT functions, and so on. So let's talk money first. I mean, what was the impact of all the transformations that you've done on costs, on top line, on bottom line, on EBITDA? What is it that you can share on the finance side of this transformation?
Yeah, I think the most impressive, I would share that there was an absolutely saving to the company to do a program like that. So sometimes, well, most of the times, I've been running integration programs for 7 years before. So I was working in a hotel brand that their daily thing was to buy new brands. So we had to integrate it. But sometimes integration doesn't mean cost reduction. It means synergy somehow, but it's very hard to put at the price point and say this will be the benefit that we are getting into that. In this case, we were able to optimize 9 million in the savings of this program. So that is a massive savings, especially if you look it into a 5 years window. That is impressive. And this is one other thing that for us was essential. We came up, when I look into the volume of vendors involved into everything that we do, was around 250 vendors for a company that is based in Netherlands, using Netherlands suppliers and local suppliers around, was massive. I never saw that in my life. So we were able to reduce 40% of that volume of vendors around our organization. And then if we look it into the sunset of platforms, as one of the design principle was to use cloud environment and to go cloud first, we were able to sunset massively the technology around every single domain, started by reporting, BI, data lakes, integration flows, and that was a massive collaboration into simplifying IT. Those are impressive. What we were able to do it as well in the new releases and upgrades, as we were integrating everything basically from scratch. We were able to document it, all the new process. So we gain a lot of time in change and maintenance, and the time to market also improve it, because we had a very long cycles, at least when I started, because the information was everywhere. Nobody had it that documented. So time to market was very long. And thanks to this program that we touched every single domain in the organization, we were able to document it and make it information accessible for everyone.
What was let's say, the IT operating model and the sourcing model in this transformation program? How much did you do with your own teams? How much were external parties involved? And how is that going to go forward?
So in the way that I organized it, this transformation, I had my run team that was keeping the light on. Everything was on froze and freezing for a time being, domain by domain. And I have my go-to transformation team. So we identified in every company, you have those people that is involved in everywhere, right? Here, we didn't have as many. If I look into my team, we're talking about not more than 10 people that was really driving this program. But as I said, Landal used to operate it in a rainbow approach. So you have a single vendor for every single thing. And going to a single vendor approach, that created a lot of bandwidth for me, right? Because then we were able to maximize the expertise of that supplier that we worked with. And we leveraged nearshore capabilities that they had it, but mostly of the domains was coming from offshoring. So that give us the augmentation that we needed, not necessarily the expertise, but then we reinforced our teams with those 10, 12, 11 people in my organization, plus in each single domain, we had it carved out from the daily operation and dedicated to the project. So, for example, in HR, we had 7 people dedicated for the program. In finance, we had 9 people dedicated for the program. In commerce, we had 21 people dedicated to the program. And then we backfilled those positions for the business as usual. So we had the best of the best allocated to the program. And just for information to share that is very relevant, and those people, 70% of them, they left the company after the program. So was a massive incentive by the HR team. So they did a brilliant job to retain those talents, to build a bonus schema or a recognition schema and say, hey, stay with me until the end and you're going to have it, a replacement, a bonus, an A and B and C. So we were able to secure those resources because they was not interested to move it to Amsterdam. They was with a specific mission to make that thing happen was a beautiful career path for them, because who doesn't want to have that in their CVs, right? And that was a win-win for everyone. So it was a lot of learning. If I asked my teams, do you want to do it again? They probably say never again. But yeah, life is good if we have challenge, right?
Absolutely. So you talked about cost saving of 9 million, legacy application being decommissioned 40%, vendor consolidation, faster software delivery cycle. So a lot of good results, finance and technology wise. How about the clients? Do you have some numbers on where the clients impacted? Do they have a better service now? Can you talk about that?
I have a good and bad story. Which one you want to know first?
Both. Well, let's start with the bad story first.
Okay. So a bad story in a reality only, right? The day we put the new app in place, we lock it out of the houses, 60,000 people. Because we refreshed the app and the button wasn't work. So in our parks, we have a digital key. So, and we did it that around 3 p.m. in the afternoon, because for us was the right timing to do. But when they refresh, they could not reopen the door because the reservation number was migrated. So imagine my hypercare in that moment. So I would say that I had the worst NPS score forever for that specific week, because it was not a nice experience for the guests. But once but it was a beautiful story between technology teams and operational teams, because the mobilization of the park staff just to get it into every single house. They was driving with a golf cart and just open doors for them and explaining how to upload it and download it, the new app. And it was beautiful. And that created a kind of, when we are in challenge moments, it's where we created connections, right? So also the guest was part of that experience. We identified some guests during the day and say, do you want to be our best tester? Yes, we do. So they were testing the application and we were fixing together with them. So we had it a drop. And I be super honest, but afterwards, I think our numbers are very good, and it's a success story, but was very frustrated in the G-Day.
So, Carla, does that mean that you went for one app for all customers? Well, tell me about the web and app story here.
Yes, actually, we had it a different version. If you were a guest that you were used to go to Landal, you had one experience. If you go to Roomport, you had a different experience. And now everything is the single guest journey. So we have one app, we have one website, and we have the same value creation. Like small things, your preferences. In Roomport, you book before. In Landau, you book it after your booking flow, right? And now it unifies the same kind of experience. So small things that we had it to change, but to create it a proper brand value creation for the guest, and that was a big win for us. It was the biggest win for us. One of the points that I forgot to mention, one of the biggest KPIs that we were following up in this project was cross-selling, because we strongly believe that if you were knowing the brand Roomport, you never go to a different website to book in Landau, right? But what we did it is we keep it to two web pages, Landau and Roomport. And if you were in Roomport, you had the whole inventory of Landau there. So you were booking a different experience or a different park from a different angle. And that helped us a lot in the boosting our top line.
Carla, let's talk about data, which is, of course, one of the top topics around in our business today. And so I understand you implemented at the same time a data lake that was already there, a data model that was. So where are you on the data strategy? And then, of course, in there is AI and fast analytics. So where are you on that roadmap?
Interesting question, because data for us is our key pillar, right, in the strategy of the company, like everybody else. So I don't think we ever gonna have an end of the strategy on data. It's just a continuous improvement on there. But what we did it is we built it a strategy as a data as a product. So during the implementation, we created a product data for each domain. So we create this massive data lake, so integrating everything, and then we expose it data product for finance, for operations, for HR, for development, for everything as a product. So means that you have your own KPIs, you have your own time life cycle, and you have those kind of things. So, and doing that, we are leveraging AI in two approach. One, we are leveraging AI from the core application point of view, because that is where you get the efficiency. So Agent Force in Salesforce, Genius in Power BI, and you go on, right? So we are leveraging from that angle where you bring the efficiency to the end user, where the end user can discover and do it there themselves, because you have that capability embedded in the platform. But from the backend kind of point of view, the moment you build it that blocks of data product for each domain, you also can create it your prompts, and you can create it your data lake in the way that you can optimize it, integration, transformation, and created additional value. So we are not there yet. We are launching initiatives based in the maturity of the program, because what we are doing, it's three different cycles. One is integrated, one it's catching up a backlog, because there is backlog to be catching up, and that is the creating value on those initiatives, either through bots or through AI. So there is two departments that is very much in advance. It's the contact center. So we are doing a massive innovation through AI for agents there. And thanks to implemented a single platform for everything. And the second one is HR with Q&As and using the capabilities internally from the Workday. So those are the main achievements that we are delivering, starting to delivering this year. And next year we have a full cycle of optimization, like A/B test is fully automated. Everything that is linked to development, DevOps is also automated. Everything that is creating value through AI for finance, so everything on homeowner settlements, and very deeply to the process that we have it in Landal, because we also operated houses in behalf of homeowners, so that is also something that we needed to put it some attention there.
Okay. So a big program, a lot of great financial, operational impact and results. What would you see as the long-term capabilities that this transformation has really unlocked into the company?
So I said it that when we look at into a company owned by a private equity, we always look at into two things. Financial performance, how can we perform better? So I think this program is delivering that with efficiency, the duplication, simplification of technology. And the other thing is, how do you leverage and you build up a better asset? Either in the defensive way, so nobody can do better, or in the offensive way, how can we grow, how can we do M&As and those kind of things. So this platform builds us a legacy, and especially in how do we accelerate Landal in terms of M&A. We built a platform that is brand agnostic. So I'm just waiting for the new acquisition so I can just connect them. Instead of taking 18 months, I look towards to do it in 6 months. So that is the legacy, and that is the best thing any CIO can do in the company to really build its value.
I must say, I think that's a brilliant answer and a brilliant strategy that you're now waiting for the business to do more M&A.
IT is not a blocking in any shape or form.
So Carla, you had to unite teams from 2 different companies across 10 countries with different roles that were changing and teams that needed to relocate. Could you share a moment where you had to step really outside of your comfort zone as a leader? And so in order to keep trust and commitment strong in the organization?
I can give you few examples of one. I think the most important is in programs like that, you're not the CIO anymore. You're just part of the team, right? If your team is working hard, you need to work twice as hard with them. And I think one thing that gives me a lot of pleasure is to the way that I like to look into a supplier as my extension of my team. So I was very touched and very thankful for the teams that was sitting in India and was super motivated. So we flew them over for recognition and just be part of them. So we were talking to them day and night, but they was also super important for the success of this program. I think in terms of navigated up and down, I think that is what this program really make me do it. Otherwise, we would never succeed. And be very pragmatic and positive, because if you drop the ball in any moment, I think that is reflecting in everyone. Very hard change management, and together with that, I was building a team. I moved from a 98% of Dutch tech team to 10-12%. So today they are super international. In my management team, I have 7 reports where one of them is Dutch. I have a Turkish lady. I have an Italian, a Brazilian, Britain. I have it, I think, all the flavors of that. And I think it as a woman in tech, it's not everyone that can. I think we needed to leverage that kind of ways of operating as well. So I like to be inspiring that a woman generation in tech is not easy to find it. Ladies that want to work in this domain, especially in change in an accelerate pace like that. So I'm very thankful for who we were able to attract. So I did it a 90% of turnover in terms of my team. So it's 90% new staff, based here, very much international, a good mix between gender and good mix between ages. So I'm very proud. I couldn't be more proud of be part of Landal.
If I would go out in your offices and start talking to the people or put myself next to the coffee machine, what do you think that people say about you and your leadership when you're not around?
I think they say that I'm a little bit crazy, that I love to take risks, and I love to say, why not? Let's give it a try. I think that also put a lot of pressure on the people, right? But also I also can imagine that they are very much saying that they grow a lot. So, and I think that is the best achievement that you can do in anybody's career, is to give the opportunity to grow. I think that is quite important.
Okay, super. Now, very successful program, but we all make our mistakes. In this program, in 18 months that you're in this now, what was your most brilliant, your best mistake? And how did you have to change, and what did you learn from it?
I think in the beginning, as anybody that is new in the company, I accepted a lot of a very tight time frame. So I accepted to do a lot of things in the same time. So in the middle of the program, I have to pause. I had to de-scope the whole hospitality change that was supposed to happen in the same time that we were doing the enterprise change. So I carve out from the integration, I created two different streams. So instead of having one program, we created two. One focused fully enterprise and another one focused fully in operation. And I think that was important because gave it focus to the team, but also created a bit of delay. So my integration gap created a little bit of gap between changing the enterprise environment versus the operational environment. So I think you needed to choose things, and that was my choice.
Now, Carla, you've been in hospitality business for quite a long time. You've been in the digital leadership business for quite a long time as well. If you would have chosen a different career path, what is it that you would be doing today, you think?
I would be a housewife. Just kidding. No, I think I was looking into. I like to create an impact, so I would be in something linked to educational or something linked to touching people somehow. Yeah, I think education would be something that would make me also very happy to be working with young generation, where you learn and you have the different flavor of life. I think that is quite interesting.
So your passion is to create an impact with people. I mean, clearly you care a lot about people, and that's and about diversity and bringing all different kind of people together to make big transformation and change, correct?
I like it, bold challenge. Yes, indeed.
So Carla, what do you see as the next big challenge? Once you have this transformation completely under control and you've implemented all the different streams and we're close to that, I understand. What are then the next big opportunities and challenges that you see in the business?
When I see two things, right? If you look at true hospitality, it's been a very disruptive and very challenged, this market. So putting ourselves towards the future, what 5 years hospitality will look like, I think none of us look into the Airbnb in the same way that we look at now compared to 10 years ago, right? So in terms of business disruption, it's how can we be continued relevant in terms of the top of choice for a nearby holiday. I think this is something that is a big challenge, and that is touching technology towards two main things. One is the guest journey. So how can technology enable easily the guest journey to anything that we do, from thinking about a holiday up to leaving super happy with a good experience to share. And the second thing is our capability to become more profitable in terms of generating top line that is not only helping our business, but helping our homeowners and the whole chain that we're looking at. So that in terms of technology applicability for the business, that is where I'm seeing how to keep it the relevance towards the hospitality business. The second one, I think we are going through the biggest transformation. I've been in tech for quite some years now. I saw that whole change of digitalization because I come from media, where we had a newspaper, printed magazine, and we had to do the transformation to digital content. That was massive. Then the second transformation in tech was the whole sourcing model, right? When we discover India, where we build up different capabilities, when we rented to the big ERPs and those kind of things. But what we are coming towards now, it's something that we have no limit anymore. It's everything linked to AI. And a very interesting, I was in India a few months ago, and it's now the best practices is when you ask it for something, how do you want to be quoted, by agent or by people? So that is the biggest disruption. And that I am sure if we don't step up our game, I think we're going to be behind as a leader, but we also put it a lot the companies in jeopardy because you have to choose the right CIO to drive those transformations.
Great. Now, Carla, if another CIO today had to start a similar post-merger big transformation, what is the advice that you would give this person?
Choose your battles, because you're going to have every day to make it important choices, and you're going to step it in somebody's feet for sure. Build the best contract you can have it with a turnkey vendor, because you can be locking in a situation that you will never be able to finish the project, because CRs will come towards you. And then keep your scope very tight, because the tendency in programs like that is it's a scope creep. So you really needed to be able to say no and say yes for things that is relevant, but you always needed to drive it to what matters, and means that choices you needed to do every day, and some choices is not easy to make it. So be bold.
Be bold. And on that note, Carla, it was a pleasure. So thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to meeting you face to face very soon.
Thank you.